You're listening to Radio Lewes, where the music matters. Welcome back to the Rock Show. As always, I am Ben Fuller, and I've got a random list for you this week. Some great stuff. Some of it's new to the show, some of it's classic, and some of it is thanks to our lovely new DJ, Si Stonehouse. I will tell you which ones they are. Now, last week I was playing you some All That Remains, and I promised to play some more, because I found out a bit more about them. So from 2012, this is a power ballad. I don't play many of them, but I do like this one. All That Remains, What If I Was Nothing?
Just let it go, don't wanna argue anymore. Can't be sure I know just what we're fighting for. I know you're scared and that you're thinking I may go. I'm not leaving, I'm not leaving. And if you're thinking I might be led astray, just remember this one question. It's hard, it seems we've worked at this so long. It's often foolish pride that tells us we're not wrong. I hear your voice, you tell me that you'll never go, and I believe it, I believe it. And if you're thinking I might be led astray, just remember this one question. What if I was nothing? What if this is true? What if I was nothing, girl? Nothing without you. So what if I was angry? What did you think I'd do? I told you that I love you, girl, nothing without you. Keep this going on, we'll make it work some way, and every step it makes us stronger every day. And if you're thinking I might be led astray, just remember this one question. What if I was nothing? What if this is true? What if I was nothing, girl? Nothing without you. So what if I was angry?
There you go, not the normal fare for the rock show. That was a power ballad, but that was All That Remained, and What If I Was Nothing. And that was from 2012, and the album A War You Cannot Win. I'm going to say that All That Remains are a modern heavy metal band and stick to that genre. They do a bit of everything, and apparently they don't like being labelled metalcore. And some people have called them Christian from a couple of ballads, and I don't think they like that either. I don't know why. I'm not going to go into that. But they were formed in 1998 in Springfield, Massachusetts, and they've had 8 or 9 albums to date. The track I played last week, Madness, is the title track to their latest album, which was released this year, and they will be on tour later this year with Alter Bridge. So I'm going to be looking for more of their work, and I'll bring it to you as the weeks progress. Now, I promised you that something this week had come to me via Cy Stonehouse and the craziness of the Pick and Mix show. And this is it. This is the Dead Daisies. And a long way to go. go. That is more rock show fare. That is the Dead Daisies, A Long Way to Go. And that's from their latest album, Make Some Noise, which was released on August 9th, 2016. The Dead Daisies are an Australian-American collective. They've been around a few years now, and I am really enjoying everything I hear from them. So thank you, Si, for that one. Now for a rock show classic, and a rock classic at that. This is AC/DC, Rock and Roll Train. The immortal AC/DC and Rock and Roll Train, and that's on the Black Ice album of 2008. Now, you may remember from a couple of years back, Brian Johnson was informed by his doctors that if he continued to tour at the indoor gigs, he would go deaf permanently. So to finish the tour, they started looking for another singer. And the first person they went to was a chap called, I think his name is Georg Dolivio. And he's a frontman with another band I've got to thank Cy for, and that's Rhino Bucket. Now, I'd never heard of them, but they've been around since 1988, and Georg couldn't do it. He had album commitments and tour commitments with the band, and as everybody knows, Axl Rose stepped in. But thanks to Cy, I do have some Rhino Bucket for you. And from an album called Who's Got Mine, this is Back to Nowhere.
I've been riding this old train on a slow track to nowhere. Every city seems the same. I'm hoping this takes me somewhere. Every night at the end of a bottle, I remember you. Every day as I'm feeling God awful, I forget the truth. I'm going back to nowhere. I hope they take me in. I'm going back to nowhere. Leave behind my bags of sin. Tracing back my steps, and I see they're going nowhere. Always seem to go to the left when the right would have taken me somewhere. Every week when I thought it was over, it started again. Every month when I swore I'd be sober, it would never end. I'm going back to nowhere. I hope they take me in. I'm going back to nowhere. Leave behind my trails of sin. I'm going back to nowhere. I hope they take me in. I'm going back to nowhere. Leave behind my bags of sin. I'm going back to nowhere. I hope they take me in. I'm going back to nowhere. Leave behind my trails of sin.
Rhino Bucket and Back to Nowhere from the 2011 album Who's Got Mine. As I said, the band was formed in February 1998, and they played the Los Angeles rock scene for a year or two with contemporaries such as Junkyard and the Four Horsemen, before being signed by Warner Brothers in 1989, and they released their self-titled debut album in 1990. Another album followed in 1992, Get Used to It, and it contained Ride With Yourself, It was a massive hit for them. It was in the hit movie and the multi-platinum soundtrack to Wayne's World. And they've had music featured in other big movies as well. Something was included on the soundtrack to The Wrestler. They took a extended hiatus in 1996, came back in 2001. But essentially they've been together more or less since with a couple of changes in the lineup since 1988, and they've been touring almost constantly. You'll have seen them at places like Monsters of Rock, the M3 Festival at Baltimore, the Sweden Rock Festival. But they do have a new album out, The Last Real Rock and Roll, which was released in April this year, and I'm going to try and get hold of it because I'm really enjoying their sound. They don't exactly sound like AC/DC, but you can understand why they wanted him when Brian Johnson had to pull out halfway through the tour. Now we're going to have a change of sound and back to a band I've discovered quite recently. I love this sound, it's very different. This is Metal Wings and Ship of Shadows. Metal Wings, a Ship of Shadows, and you can find that on their latest EP, excuse me, and that is Fallen Angel in the Hell, and that was released last year. They are from Bulgaria, and they're a symphonic gothic metal band with Celtic influence. They were formed by vocalist and viola player Stella Atanasova in 2010. I've told you the rest before, so we're going to move on to Black Veil Brides and the World of Sacrifice.
The saint is not a weapon, it's a message, a sermon to shame, a demon that you wanna blame, sell you, change you, leave you in a world of flames. Pain is not a blessing, it's a lesson, don't bow down to a world of hate, from your cradle to the grave, 'cause even if you sacrifice beliefs you get through, and even if you take the side of lies over true, every day the world will take what you give into, so hold on to every breath of life in a world of sacrifice. A personal slave, the one who left to die in vain, sold you, changed you, taught you all the selfish ways. Faith becomes an addiction, not ambition. Don't bow down to a world of hate, from your cradle to the grave. 'Cause even if you sacrifice beliefs you get through, and even if you take the side of lies over true, every day the world will take what you give into, so hold on to every breath of life in a world of sacrifice. Hold on in a world of sacrifice. Hold on till your last breath is gone. Hold on in a world of sacrifice. Hold on till your last breath is gone. 'Cause even if you sacrifice beliefs you get through, and even if you take the side of lies over true, every day the world will take what you give into, so hold on to every breath of life in a world of sacrifice. In a world of sacrifice. In a world of sacrifice.
Oh, from their fourth studio album, which is self-titled, that was World of Sacrifice. Regular listeners to this show will know that I've played one or two tracks from the Andy Black solo album. That's frontman Andy Biersack's pseudonym for his solo work. On December the 21st, 2016, Black Veil Brides released a single from their up-and-coming new album. The single was titled The Outsider. They'd previously said that once they wrapped recording on the Andy Black record, then they start to shift focus back to Black Veil Brides. And they have been a bit quiet on the album front. Black Veil Brides' fourth album was 2014, but the new album, which is going to be titled Veil, is set to be released in January of 2018, followed by a tour. So I look forward to that immensely. World of Sacrifice wasn't released as a single from the album, but I think it should have been. Everything that I've played off that album I really enjoyed, so really looking forward to the new one. Now for a band I don't play much of. Sometimes they get overlooked, I don't know why. This is Buck Cherry, and Never Say Never.
Sarah started on the wrong track and she was always seeking shelter. Johnny was an insomniac and no one loved him more than Sarah. Gone, they were gone and the bridges burning. Wrong, they were wrong and the wheels are turning. On, moving on and they keep on learning. They're gonna make it through, never say never. Nothing lasts forever. Love could be much better, but you have to just let go. Never say never. There's nothing to be scared of, and you don't have to give up on something you don't know. Oh, no, no. I sold a Chevy for a Cadillac because a Cadillac looks better. They never bothered ever looking back because they thought they lived forever. Gone, they were gone and the bridges burning. Wrong, they were wrong and the wheels are turning. On, moving on and they keep on learning. They're gonna make it through, never say never. Nothing lasts forever. Life could be much better, but you have to just let go. Never say never. There's nothing to be scared of, and you don't have to give up on something you don't know. Well, you're right back where you started, sitting all alone. If this ain't what you wanted, then just let go. Never say never. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, never. Never say never. Oh, never. Nothing lasts forever. Life could be much better, but you have to just let go. Never say never. There's nothing to be scared of, and you don't have to give up on something you don't know. Never, never, oh, never say never.
Buck Cherry there, Never Say Never, from the 2010 album All Night Long. They are a great band, and the thing is, I think I like so many bands these days that I find I'd either repeat myself too much or I'd play too much of one band all the time, so they do get a bit overlooked. I must remedy that. In 2013, they released an album called Confessions, which I think is based on the Ten Commandments, looking at some of the titles, but some of the language on that album is just not suitable for this show. Followed that was an EP that I can't even tell you the title of because it's so rude, and every single one of the songs on that EP contains the same word, so they can't be played either. 2015, they released their 7th studio album called Rock and Roll. I don't actually think I've got that one. I'm going to have to check my music archive and find out. In May this year, there was a little bit of a disagreement and a couple of the members of the band left. So they haven't been recording much at all at the moment, but they have replaced those members of the band, and hopefully there'll be something new coming very soon. Now for another band that's very new. They've only got one album, and I've probably played everything on it. But again, they haven't had a little bit of airplay for a while, so this is Stonebroken and Let Me Go.
But you just won't leave me alone. I'll think of something just to answer your call. Cause you can, but you don't. You can leave, but you won't let me go. You think it's easy just to gain some kind of control. I'm running fast and making sense of it all. Cause I would if I could, and I think that you should let me go. I've been wasting time with you by my side, 'cause nothing turns out right. I've been wasting time. You realize it's like a story that's already been told. Not giving up, but I'm not ready to fold. 'Cause you can, but you don't. You can leave, but you won't let me go. The situation is the worst that I've ever known. You're seeing things that I could see on my own. 'Cause I would if I could, and I think that you should let me go. I've been wasting time with you by my side, 'cause nothing turns out right. I've been wasting time, and I need to go 'cause I'm waiting for the day for things to go my way. But can't you see it's a part of me? Don't wanna hear you say you've seen it all before, and you don't wanna see no more. But if you see, then you will believe we have got it all. I'm waiting for the day for things to go my way. But can't you see it's a part of me? Don't wanna hear you say you've seen it all before, and you don't wanna see no more. And if you see, then you will believe we have got it all.
Oh, Stonebroken, Let Me Go, from their debut album. Excuse me again, All in Time. Now, I've got some breaking news for you, because on Friday the 17th of November, a new single will be available, worth fighting for. Now, I'm recording this show on the 14th, so by the time you're hearing this, it will already be out. And that will be followed by a new album, Ain't Always Easy, which is set for March 2018, along with a tour, a headline tour, which is being presented by Planet Rock Radio. I am looking forward immensely to that. Now, as I previously mentioned, Cy Stonehouse and Nick of the Pick and Mix show and their irreverent nonsense, one of their dubious claims to fame is stroking a rather sweaty Justin Hawkins. So just for them, this is The Darkness and Open Fire. Oh, The Darkness there, and Open Fire, which was the second single from their fourth studio album, Last of Our Kind, which was released on the 27th of May 2015, at least in Japan, and later in other countries. I didn't like The Darkness when they were first about, I have to say, but I love that album because it's got a sort of feeling of the cult about it, and I am a big cult fan. And that one was just for Cy and Nick. Now, I did skip one, because I really wanted to get that track in. I like that one. This list has been about new stuff and older stuff that I haven't played for a while, and this one definitely falls into that category. This is Testament and Electric Crown.
Tasted by your bitter
Testament and Electric Crown, and that was the first single from their fifth studio album, Ritual. Incidentally, in September of this year, Metal Blade Records released the album on vinyl for the first time in the US, along with its follow-up album, Low, limited to 1,500 copies. And for those of you that know Testament, that was a slight change of sound for the band, exploring a slower and more melodic approach while still maintaining their thrash metal roots. Now, time is short and I want to get you a few more tracks in, and I've been wanting to play this one for a little while. This is something new from Theory of a Dead Man, and this is RX.
Wake up to a cloudy day, dark rolls in and it starts to rain. Staring out to the cage like walls, time goes by and the shadows crawl. Crushing candy, crushing pills, got no job, mom pays my bills. Texting exes, get my fill, sweating bullets, Netflix chills. World's out there singing the blues, 20 more dead on the evening news. Think to myself, really what's the use? I'm just like you, I was born to lose. Why, oh why can't you just fix me? When all I want to feel numb, but the medication's all gone. Why, oh why does God hate me? When all I want to get high and forget this so-called life. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. Can't wait to feel better than I ever will. Tack that shit like a kid on Benadryl. Chase it down with a hopeful smile. Hate myself, I can go for miles. They say family's all you need. Someone to trust can help you breathe. Inhale that drug, but you start to choke. You fall on the outs of an inside joke. Why, oh why can't you just fix me? When all I want's to feel numb, but the medication's all gone. Why, oh why does God? Cause I've seen enough of it, heard enough of it, felt enough of it, had enough of it. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. I am so freaking bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate. Superman is a hero, but only when his mind is clear though. He needs that fix like the rest of us, so he's got no fear when he saves that bus. All the stars in the Hollywood Hills, Snapchat live when they pop them pills. All those flavors of the rainbow, too bad that shit don't work though. Your friends are high right now, your parents are high right now. That hot chick's high right now, that cop is high right now. The president's high right now, your priest is high right now. Everyone's high as fuck right now. Bored, nothing to do today. I guess I'll sit around and medicate.
Theory of a Dead Man and RX Medicate, as it's often known, released as a lead single from their sixth and brand new studio album, Wake Up Call. Wake Up Call was released earlier in October this year, and RX Medicate topped the Billboard US Mainstream Rock Songs chart for 3 weeks in October. Now, time is very short, so I'm going to say thank you so much for listening. You're listening to Radio Lewes, where the music matters. This has been The Rock Show, and I've been Ben Fuller. And I'm going to leave you now with Annihilator and Night Jumps Queen. Until next time, bye-bye.